Hey guys, welcome back to Kingdom Talk with me, your girl Marie Lewis. And I know, guys, it has been a while. It's been been 2 weeks, but we're back. This show got to keep rolling, right? And today we will be talking about answering the call. Answering the call. And it's crazy because today when I came back, I was like, okay, God, I'm ready. I'm thinking that I'm gonna go back to talking about, I left off on, the children, the topic on our children. And as I began to pray and as I began to worship, and I heard God said, no, speak about this. And here I go. And it's crazy because this past week I was speaking at somebody's anniversary for their ministry. And God had me speak on that. So I didn't think that I would be doing it again. But like I said, this message, this topic, answering your call, answering the call. The Bible says in Matthew 22, verse 14, for many are called, but few are chosen. Many are called, but few are chosen. And people don't realize that everybody think when you're being called, that means you have to have a pastor, be a pastor, an evangelist, you have to have a mic or whatever it is. But that's not what, yes, that's a calling, but that's not the only calling that God was talking about. Some of you may be called to minister and dancing. Some of you may be called to do praise and worship. Some of you may be called to work at a certain job. Matter of fact, my friend Naomi, I met her at H&M, and I believe she was called there for me. It was through her where I really started learning about God, where I downloaded the Bible app. Don't get me wrong, I was always saved. If you can't see me, I'm sorry, I don't have video yet, but it's coming. I'm doing little quotation, uh, the little quotations with my finger. But I was so called saved, but I wasn't really saved. It was through her. And she had a calling at that job. You see where I'm taking this? She had a calling there. And it wasn't only me that she helped, that God used her to help. It was other people as well. We all have a calling somewhere. And this is why I'm going to take to your next verse, the next verse where it said, it is better to obey than to sacrifice. Matter of fact, that's 1 Samuel 15, verse 22. And it says, it is better to obey. It is better to obey than to sacrifice. Another version said that it's better to be, it is obedience is better than sacrifice. Because she gave God her yes when she got that job. Because she could have left. She could have chose not to work there, but she chose to work there. I was able to be saved. You understand what I'm saying? Sometimes God placed you, He needs you to be somewhere for a certain reason. He needs us to give Him our yes. He needs us to answer the call. That's why the Bible said, many are called, but few are chosen. I honestly believe that few are chosen because not many answered the call. Romans 11, verse 29. And it said the gifts and callings of God are irrevocable. Irrevocable. That means it does not change. When you're called, when you have the gift, it does not change if you answer the call or not. The gifts are still there. The call is still there. And that's why many are chosen. I honestly believe that few are chosen because only few answer the call. I honestly believe that few are chosen because only few answer the call. And we have to understand that answering the call, our life depends on it. Whatever God has asked us to be, whatever God has called us to be, has want us to be, it all comes with a price. Sometimes you're sitting there, you're praying, God, I want more. God, well, I'm doing everything you told me to do, but things not going right. God, make a way for me. Open the door for me. And God is saying, well, sweetie, I opened the door, but you went the wrong way. You didn't give me your yes. You didn't say yes to the call. God could tell you to leave a job right now because He's calling you to be somewhere else. Maybe while you're at that job, you're going to be ministering to somebody. Maybe while you're remember the Bible said He wants us to preach the word, to share the good news with the world. And wherever you are, wherever God has called you to be, is not for no reason. It's for a purpose. Whether you want to believe it or not, it's for a purpose. I know my friend Bacon who does nails. You know how many souls he has saved in his seats? How many women of God, women that he brought to of Christ? I mean, people who have never known of God. There's a difference between you're preaching to people who know God, but preaching to people who have not known, who denied God, who denied the faith, who denied that Jesus was the Son of God. You know how many men that he brought to Christ because he answered the call. He answered the call that was on his life. We all have a calling. We all have a path that we're supposed to walk on. And if you refuse, you have the choice to refuse, to go your own way. When you go your own way, how could things ever be right? Remember, if you are called, whether you answer or not, the calling is still on your life. I've seen men and women walk away from their calling. I mean, like pastors, preachers, prophets, evangelists. I've seen them walk away from the calling on their lives. I always hear people say they're sacrificing their time with God. They're sacrificing this, they're giving this, they're sowing this, they're doing this. But the Bible said that obedience is better than sacrifice. Do you know when you're obedient? When you're obedient, you become a sacrifice. So, how can you sacrifice if you're not obedient? When you're obedient, you're sacrificing yourself to God, saying, God, I don't know what, I'm following you no matter what. I may not know what's going on. I may not know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't understand what you're doing, but I'm just going to be obedient and say yes to you. You're literally becoming a living sacrifice for God. You're giving yourself to Him to use. Now He can use you. Now He can use you for His will. Let His will be done in your life. But as long as you keep saying no, as long as you keep creating your own path, you're walking in darkness. The Bible said, I don't know the verse, but you can find it. It says that I am the light and there's no darkness in me at all. My goodness, that was one of my favorite verses. How did I forget what verse it was? But it said, I am the light and there's no darkness in me at all. So if there's no darkness in God, and you go away from His path, you stray away from the path He created for you, where do you think you are? What path do you believe you're going to be walking? And most of the time, we're not obedient. We don't say yes to the call because we're afraid, fear. Somebody said, if you have fear, you don't have faith. But if you have faith, you don't have fear. Fear can live in you or near you. I get online and I post videos. I come on YouTube. I'm literally posting with no video. Like my husband said, "You doing a podcast with no video? This is a new time." But do you guys know? If I were to choose my way, I would never post. I would never record. But it was because the call that was on my life. I remember having a dream back in 2019. And an angel came to me multiple times having the same dream. You know what you're reading? What you're writing in your book is not only for you, God wants you to share it. That was literally the word. God wants you to share. I see I'm working out in the outside gym, working out with weights. And the angel comes sit next to me. These words are not only for you, you have to share it. You have to share it. And then one day I got so fearful, afraid, like, oh my goodness, God, what would happen if I don't share this? What would happen if I don't say yes? What would happen? So I began to post, not because I wanted to, but because I wanted to please God. Because I wanted to give God my yes. Because I wanted to answer the call. I post on YouTube and I barely get views. Maybe 2, 3 views. But it doesn't bother me. You know why? Because I'm giving God my yes. Sometimes you choose not to give God your yes. Sometimes you choose not to answer the call because of the people around you. Let me tell you something. If you continue down that path, you will get nowhere. You will get nowhere. And everything you do for people, everything you do for anybody else but God, you give them power and control over you. What happened when they're no longer there? Will you still do it? Will you still do it if everybody stopped following you online? Would you still do it if the money wasn't there? Would you still do it? I remember God asked me to quit my job. I was roommated with my sister. I had my daughter, and I knew God was telling me to leave. And I'm like, God, what am I going to do next? What am I going to do next? I couldn't see, but God knew what He was doing. And as I left my job, I gave everybody a story what I believed, what I had faith was going to happen. Sorry about that. I gave everybody a story what I thought was going to happen. And I'm like, yeah, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. But when I left my job, it's the complete opposite. God led me into teaching, into substitute, into interventionist. Now I'm a teacher. But God had His plans. And do you know how many children were brought to Christ? How many, like the things that happened, the people I met. And I'm like, what if I didn't listen? I was still working at H&M maybe right now. Probably would have got fired and not knowing what to do. I can guarantee you, if you say yes to God, it might not be easy. It might not be easy. It might not be easy to answer the call because it's not something you want to do. But if you say yes, I can guarantee you your future will be bright. I put everything on it. I put everything on that. God will not fail you. God will not fail you. But if you choose to go the other way, you choose to go your own path, I can also guarantee that you'll never get to where you want to be. You might get halfway there, might get this and that. You're going to get a bare minimum, but you will never get to where you want to be. There's a call on everybody. There's a call to be an usher. That's a call to be the person who cleaned the church. That's a calling. I'm doing praise and worship at church, and I've been tired. I'm like, oh gosh, I don't even have time to look for the songs with the other girl. I haven't been really feeling it. And then God told me, who do you put first? Because when you answer the call, you have to show up. When you answer the call, you have to show up. And I haven't been showing up. I've been half doing everything. And God got on me with that. He got on me about that. And I said, Lord, I repent. Help me. Answering the call will not be easy, but it will be worth it. You get so many, and these are for the people that saved and unsaved. You get so many words or this is supposed to happen. You have all these big dreams and visions, and you're seeing the stuff that God wants you to do, but how could it come to pass if you're not on the right path? If God is showing you these things, that means He have these things in store for you. But if you're going left and He's telling you to go right, how can it come to pass? Then you're gonna say, "Oh, that was a false prophet. That was a fake teacher." Oh my goodness, that's another thing. I do not call people anymore fake anything. And don't get me wrong, I did it before. Well, that's not a real teacher. That's not a real prophet because I thought I knew it all, but you don't know. When God call you, you may not be ready, but He's gonna use you anyway and get you to where you need to be. God told me, what if I called you back then when you wasn't ready? People would have been calling you fake. People would have been making up stories. They always do make up stories about me, but it would have been worse. But it doesn't mean that you weren't called. I remember when I first started working in the school system, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I did not know what I was doing. I was like, I haven't been in high school in years. I can't much remember what half this thing is. I'm over here Googling, asking some of my friends, but I was called to that job. And do you know, although I felt like I didn't know what I was doing, I know for a fact I didn't know what I was doing. God had the other teachers speak on my behalf. She's amazing. Oh my goodness. They were saying, I'm like, what did I do this? I never did that. But that was because I answered the call and God gave me favor. When you answer the call, favor will come with it. Because you're walking in the right path, you're walking on the right path, you cannot fail. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be easy because the enemy will come and attack. The enemy, that's why you have to stay in prayer and fasting. You have to stay intimate with God, stay intimate with Him. So you'll always know what's coming. So you would know that, okay, I don't have to worry. Because once you lose that intimacy with God, you're going to feel like you don't want to do it no more. I know somebody who was called to praise and worship and she walked away. Even after I spoke to her, she chose not to do it, not knowing you walked away from your life. When you don't answer the call, you walk away from your life. You walk away from the life that God ordained you to live. I look at my pastor and other pastors. I watch them, my goodness, preach every single Sunday. Come on Fridays, come on Wednesdays, come on, be at church praying all night. Like, I used to want that life. Then I realized, oh, it's not easy. I don't want that. I don't want to be a pastor. I don't want to be none of that, God. I said, because it's not easy. What they do is not easy. And this is why when David had the chance to kill Saul, he did it. Because he knew that Saul was called by God. He knew that God picked Saul. Although there was going through a transition where David was anointed as king, but Saul was still in leadership position. David still honored Saul because of the calling that was on Saul's life. Because God picked Saul. Everything we do matters. Every decision we make matters. If you make the wrong decision, you'll be on the wrong path. It's time to give God your yes. It's time to answer that call. What did God call you to? What is the calling on your life? Stop wasting time. We're going into 2024 in a couple of days. Stop wasting time because time is speeding up. If you didn't know, this time is going by a little faster now. And you don't want to die. And you stand there in front of the Father and He just tell you, you didn't answer the call. You want to be where He says, well done, my good and faithful servant. All right, y'all. I thank y'all for listening. And I promise video will be coming soon. Very soon. So, but still go ahead, like, share, and subscribe if you're led to. Until then, see ya next week.